Hello, welcome to another edition of a Plus One interview. Today we got a special guest from the Shadow League. We got Mr. J.R. Gamble. How you doing, sir?
Not much. Not much here to talk that baseball.
We're talking some baseball. You know, we got 10 minutes with you, but first we got to start off with my Boston Red Sox, man. What is happening with them? What has been going on with them this season?
Well, you know, they had that slump, that post-World Series slump, where last year everything went perfectly for Boston. From the pitching to the hitting, especially the relief pitching. You had some performances from guys like Evaldi and other guys that were unsung heroes for you last year. And this year, those things just didn't pan out. And that's baseball. You know, you need the perfect storm a lot of times to win a World Series. There's been teams that have had the best teams, won the most games, and still didn't win the World Series. So I think they're having a little letdown. Last year was magical. Everything from, you know, Cora becoming the first Puerto Rican manager to win a World Series, to Mookie Betts' 30-30 MVP campaign, how Jackie Bradley all of a sudden found a bat in the playoffs. I mean, went against all metrics, all statistics, and Boston was able to, you know, have a magical year. And it's a little different. You have some injuries from the Yankees and some other people that helped Boston run away with the division. But it's different this year.
Very different. And in their last 15 games, they were something like 3-12. It seemed like the problem with them wasn't the hitting. They were getting decent amount of runs. It's a problem that everybody knew was coming during the season, was pitching, and everybody knew they should have addressed the pitching during the offseason. But it seems like their bullpen has really let them down this season.
Yes, they have, and in Boston was, I think, ranked 22nd in the league in pitching. And I said, if you want to see baseball and the teams that are going to go to the playoffs and do well in the playoffs, they're usually in the top 10 in pitching and hitting, especially pitching. Look at the Dodgers, you look at Houston, Cleveland, Tampa. All these guys are either leading their division or, you know, in control for the wild card. And they have the best pitching staff, even in St. Louis. So yeah, the pitching failed. Like I said, last year, Boston actually got lucky with their pitching, and a lot of guys performed above their baseball cards. So it's one of those rebound years you have to deal with. They're not terrible this season. It's just they're very inconsistent, and they don't seem to have the same power squad to advance as they did last year, especially with how much better Tampa Bay and the Yankees look this year. But they're still in the wild card hunt. They just have to really turn it around. And like you said, find some consistent pitching. At this point of the season, we don't know if that's going to happen.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, one thing that bothered me is when they had a players-only meeting a couple weeks ago after a game, and that's never good in the middle of the season.
Yeah, it's never good, but the Mets had the same players-only meeting, and they've gone on a tear. They won, I think, 15 of their next 16, and they're right in the thick of the wild card race in the National League. So it just depends on, you know, how those things affect you. When you have a players-only meeting in the middle of the season, that's usually a sign of desperation, and it's either going to propel the team to a win streak, as it did with the Mets, or it's going to just, you know, spell more doom, as it did with Boston. It can't work all the time, but like you said, that is a bad sign, usually, but it worked for the Mets, who are only 2 games out of the wild card right now.
Let's talk about the playoffs. 2 teams in general who have been red hot. I think they both clinched their 80th victory last night. The Yankees and the Dodgers. What is it about these 2 teams that has been playing so well this season?
Well, both of these teams have ownership, one, that are willing to spend money. Ever since Magic came to the Dodgers in 2012, they basically opened up the coffers and you know, they have an endless money pit trying to get to this World Series. And they've made it the last 2 years under Dave Roberts, and they're looking to finally get over that hump. So they have a lot of money spent. They have a lot of marquee players, and they control the market in that way. They even had Manny Machado for the end of the year last season, but couldn't work anything out with him. And actually, they need him, as you see. The Yankees are the Yankees. They're always in it. They're always going to be competitive. It comes down to their pitching staff, and if they have stoppers that are going to perform for them and elevate their game in the playoffs. You know, offensively, the Yankees basically have no equals because they're not even playing their marquee all-stars. They have unheralded guys like Cameron Maben, Gino Urshela, Michael Tachman, guys you've never heard of performing at all-star levels.
Yep.
So it all comes down to pitching for the Yankees and the Dodgers too, because as well as their pitching is done in the regular season, guys like Clayton Kershaw are legendary. He's come up short during the postseason. So they're going to need some guys that have some career years, some Madison Bumgarner type performances, some Justin Verlander 2017 type performances to get over the hump. So as dominant as they've been because they have the most talent day in and day out throughout the lineup, plus they have very formidable regular season pitchers, it's really going to come down to how these guys step it up in the postseason, and that's why I tend to give Houston an edge over both of these teams.
Yeah, speaking of Houston, they won the trade deadline by a lot of, according to a lot of people, by some of the acquisitions they made. How dangerous is this team?
Well, any team that's won the World Series in the last 2 seasons and has just a stockpile of the greatest young players in the game, from George Springer to Michael Brantley, Jose Altuve, Gurriel, Correa, I mean, it's endless. They probably have more talent in the lineup other than the Yankees in baseball. So now that they've added Greinke, they have Cole, they have Verlander, who's always reliable in the clutch. Hey, if they can, if their relief pitching holds up, I still have them as the favorites because I know Verlander, what he can do in the postseason. Not sure about these Yankee pitchers. Not too sure about the Dodgers pitchers as far as spectacular performances in the postseason. So Houston's dangerous. They're very dangerous. I say they're the number 1 team in baseball right now, despite what the win totals say, particularly entering the playoffs. Because Cole and Verlander, they can do it anytime.
Once you get to the playoffs, anything happens. And lastly, before we get you out of here, if they want to find your work, where could they contact you, or where could they find it?
Oh, definitely. They can find me. I'm a deputy editor and senior writer and baseball specialist at www.theshadowleague, theshadowleague, SHADOW.com, theshadowleague.com. You can also catch me on Twitter at Fanalist1, FANALYST1, and also Instagram at The Gambler24, where I post my stories and my cultural perspectives on baseball. You can also catch me on Instagram at Black Baseball Kings, where I specialize in African American baseball culture as well as Hispanic baseball culture. All
right, JR, thank you for taking the time to come to call in and speak with me. You have a great day. We'll definitely talk to you during the playoffs and World Series and all that. You have a great day, sir.